why Kyle Shanahan stubbornly is sticking with Jimmy Garoppolo. I have a theory. I'm going full tinfoil hat here. You can go your own direction afterwards, but let me just see if I can explain it. This is just a theory, everyone, and this is for fun. But it's been reported. I always go back to it's been reported he wanted Mac Jones by very reputable people. Adam Schefter, Mike Silver. He wanted Mac Jones, and from all reports, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, Jed York, Adam Peters, the whole shebang overruled him. And we're like, look, it's not going to happen with Mac Jones. So find something else. And it seems to me that the reason Kyle liked Mac, he was asked in the pre-draft press conference, why do you like Mac Jones? And he said, because he's a starting quarterback. Well, as opposed to Trey Lance, who's a backup quarterback right now. So why do you like Mac Jones? Because Mac could start right now. And you know what? He's right. Mac's good. If Mac were on this team right now, he'd be starting. He'd be winning. He's good. He's a good player. But he got overruled. And when they said, look, we're not going to go with Mac, so let's find something else. He said, well, maybe I also like Trey Lance. But my thing with Trey Lance is I don't think he's ready. And they're like, okay, no problem. You got Jimmy. Stick with Jimmy. And if he were to pivot and go to Lance and Lance were good and Lance looked ready, that would just mean he's wrong. He was wrong about Lance. And I think what Kyle has shown is that he's 100% committed to being right. 100% committed to being right. And if what he said to the organization was, look, I like Lance, but the reason I prefer Mac Jones is because he's a starting quarterback right now and I want to win right now and I want him. And they're like, sorry, we're not going to do that. You got to take Lance and you got to go with Jimmy. He'll be like, all right, well, Lance isn't ready and I'm not going to put him in a position to prove me wrong. So we're going to ride or die with Jimmy. And if we die, it was your choice. You know I wanted Mac Jones. And every week that Mac Jones looks better and better in New England, I bet Kyle gets a little bit more pissed. Like, I told you. I freaking told you. And this is, again, like in Washington in 2012, you overruled me when I said Kirk was better than RG3. And now, once again, I get overruled, and I'm right. I bet you all that stuff is going on. That's my tinfoil hat theory right now. Is every week he gets a little bit more frustrated about getting overruled by Mac Jones, and he's not about to backtrack and be like, well, actually, Trey is ready. Sorry. Nah, I said he's not ready. I was right. I said Mac Jones is ready. I was right. Does anyone else want to overrule me again in the 40? Who else knows more about me than quarterbacks? Adam, you want to do it? John? That's the way I look at it right now. I mean, this is all private stuff between about 40 people, but 40 very powerful people.
And if you want to add on to that, the other guy that he loves is having a good season too, and Kirk Cousins, right? And they did he get overruled with the Jimmy Garoppolo trade? And he's like, not, a couple years ago, he's like, nah, I want to wait for Kirk. I want to wait for Kirk. And John's like, nah, we got to get this. We got to get this guy. Well, we can get him for a 2, dude. We can get him for a 2. We got to do it. And he was like, all right, so.
If Jimmy Garoppolo were on a 3-game losing streak and Mac Jones hadn't started week 1, he'd be starting right now. He'd be, because Kyle wanted him. But if Kyle was reluctant about Lance and he was like, okay, but only on the condition that you don't force me to play him right away and I'm allowed to start him in year 3 if that's what I think is appropriate. And they said, okay, well, but you got to keep Jimmy because you win with Jimmy. Well, then that's where this whole debacle started, that you created a system that the head coach wasn't even bought in on.
Right. And that's an organizational failure.
Right.
And
I take some responsibility because I was leading the charge on Mac Jones. I'm sorry. I didn't need to do that. He's better than I thought he'd be. My bad.
Listen, that's okay. You could say no on Mac Jones. I mean, he's doing some good things with the Patriots, but you can't judge quarterbacks on 1 year.
And I still would take Trey Lance over Mac Jones. I think basically what I wouldn't have done is trade up to 3. That is a very, very rich move, and it's going to be hard to justify down the line. But I'm just talking about why Kyle is being so stubborn here. And it seems to me that it probably goes back to before the season. He never had a quarterback competition. He doesn't want to let things play out. He knows already. He knows Trey Lance is not ready. He knows Mac Jones is a starting quarterback. He was right about Mac Jones. He's going to make sure he's right about Trey Lance. And that's the way I look at it.
That's their fault because you can't have a head coach that doesn't buy into the quarterback.
One start that Trey Lance got, did they put him in a position to look like he was ready? No, they played him running back. That was his statement to the organization. This is what he's ready to do.
And that's one of the main reasons why if this is what's going on, they got to move on for Kyle. I mean, they've done it.
You can't have a guy working against, like being a subversive element to your. He says, "Oh, that's the quarter." He said that Trey Lance is the future of the team. No, he's the present, man. I don't know where you think you're going with Jimmy Garoppolo, but I asked him, like, how far out of contention do you have to fall before you play Trey Lance, before you start Trey Lance. And he was like, I think you're asking if I just give players experience for experience's sake. Like, no, I'm asking exactly what I asked. Dude. How many games do you have to lose in a row before you go to Trey Lance? It's a real simple question. Why do you think Jimmy Garoppolo gives you the best chance to win? He won't answer these questions, man. So we got to go conspiracy theory, because I asked you directly and you were like hemming and hawing like, oh, well, you know, it's not baseball. It's not all about the – okay. All right.
Yeah, but wasn't he asked last year why he started CJ Beathard? And he was like, "Oh, I just thought we needed a spark offense."
The spark
You
complex.
can use it. Your offense can use the spark right now. It's like,
so what do you think of my tinfoil hat theory? That this is all about him being right about Mac Jones and Trey Lance.
You may very well be right. Yeah, he seemed to have that stubbornness built into his personality, and like, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, but I think.
Look, all I know is if you know me, and people that watch this show know me, I have strong opinions just like Kyle too. But I'm also wrong a lot, like every person is. And I'm the first person to be like, yo, I was wrong about that. And to laugh it off. He's not like that. And maybe he's not in a profession where he can be wrong and laugh it off, but he doubles down on it. I was right about that. Oh, and 10 years ago in Washington, I was right about that. And that one thing that everyone thought that I was wrong about, actually, let's revisit that, because I was right about that too. That's Kyle Shanahan's attitude. And so I really can't take people like that. People who all they want to do is, I was right. Like, dude, no, you're not. You're not. You're not this infallible, godlike, always right person. And if you think you are, you're going to get yourself in trouble, man.
He's that Titanic.
Wise people know they're not like that. Wise people know what they do.
He's going right through that iceberg. We could do it.
Yep.